If you were given the chance to get a house for free, but with the caveat of having to deal with cursed VHS tapes in the attic and potentially die in the process, would you do it? In this economy? Heck yeah, I would. And so would the protagonist of Amanda the Adventurer. Well, kinda. She actually inherited the house, and despite an ominous message from her late aunt, she got curious and decided to check out the tapes herself. It is, as they say, curiosity killed the cat. Or the human, in this case. Amanda the Adventurer is a horror/puzzle game that takes place mostly in the inherited house's attic. Contrary to what you may believe from the title, you don't actually play as Amanda, but rather as a person named Riley. The story is honestly very intriguing. You basically inherit the house with an apology about the tapes in the attic, deciding to instantly watch them because why not? What does the protagonist see, you ask? Well, I'll let the devs explain that themselves. As per the Steam store page, quote, "While the episode appears charming and simple on the surface, an uneasiness starts to settle in as Riley realizes that Amanda and Wooly, her sheep friend, seem to be communicating directly through the television set. It's almost as if Amanda needs something and Riley becomes fascinated with finding out what that something may be." Honestly, I could share more, but I think you're better off experiencing the story yourself. It's nothing special, but for me, quite a lot of the fun came from trying to figure out exactly what was happening, especially as the game has around 6 possible endings. But what exactly will you be doing to get these endings? The gameplay is somewhat divided in 2 halves. You get to walk around in the in-game real-world attic with realistic-ish graphics, and in the other half you get to watch and interact with Amanda and Wooly in their tapes. The gameplay perfectly alternates these halves by hiding clues within the tapes that you can then use to solve the real-world puzzles, and if you're paying enough attention, even find secrets. And trust me, there are lots of secrets to find. So basically, you get a tape, put it in the VCR, finish watching it, turn around, solve a puzzle to get the next tape. It's quite straightforward, but again, only for the first ending. If you want to see the whole story, you'll have to think outside the box. Each half of the gameplay is pretty fun actually. The tapes were the highlight for me though. In those, you get to watch Amanda and Wooly's wonderful dynamic. The writing is great and it's that of an early 2000s era children's cartoon. Think Dora the Adventurer, for example. As such, Amanda is always talking to us and asking us simple questions like, "What's your favorite pie?" and "Where do you think we keep the sugar?" with quite obviously wrong options to choose from, such as the sink, alongside the correct option. Here's the kicker though, these questions get fucked up and it does not take long. Not only that, but you can freely choose to just give her the wrong answers, which pisses her off because she knows you're playing her.
Who can help when you are hurting? I don't think they can help. Don't you want to help, Wooly? Why are you even here?
I mean, who could be that dumb, right? Her reactions to that are somewhat funny and often scary, especially if you're the shy sheep Wooly. I would go as far as to say most of the horror aspect in this game comes from the tapes. As for the attic, well, it's mostly there for you to solve puzzles and find secrets. Like I said, after every tape you'll have a new main puzzle to solve to uncover the next tape. And let me tell you, said puzzles are pretty fun. You will be using quite a bit of your brain to get through some of them, especially if you want to get all the endings. Thankfully, the devs did a really good job of giving very subtle hints in the right direction, but again, those need you to really pay attention to things, especially what's being said on the tapes. And even then, a couple of puzzles might still elude you, but no shame in looking up the answers if push comes to shove. And I'm totally not just saying this because I had to look up answers, alright? Some of these endings are also tied to the aforementioned secrets, so you'll have a lot of content to work through. But how exactly do we get these endings? How do we see the full picture? Simple, via replaying the game. Kinda. You see, the game is short. Like, pretty short. Like, you can get to the first ending within, say, 30 or so minutes, depending on how good you are with puzzle shorts. However, that's pretty much just the beginning. Once you get one ending, you can press continue and you're thrown right back into the start of the story. You may think this is going to get tedious fast, since you're gonna be replaying a bit, but honestly, it didn't for me. The game is really well designed to allow you to take shortcuts, per se. One example would be the fact that you can skip tape sequences you've already watched. Another would be that if you find a code, so long as you write it down, nothing is stopping you from using it as soon as you start and sort of sequence break, per se. And who knows, maybe some secrets require sequence breaking. In terms of the presentation, the game has quite a bit going for it. The soundtrack is fitting, but what I really enjoyed was the art style. There was a really nice contrast between the more realistic visuals of the attic and the classic 90s style CGI that recalls a simpler era of animation, that's the developer's quote, presented within the tapes and in the cursor. They honestly actually nailed that style. And the characters, Amanda and Wooly, are also very expressive, which was a pretty pleasant surprise.
What's your favorite kind of pie? That sounds delicious.
Overall, seeing how much care went into the presentation of this game was awesome, really. On the more technical side of things, the game is unfortunately a bit glitchy at the moment of this review. Nothing game-breaking for me, although I did see one or two reports of that in the Steam discussions. It also should be noted that the devs are tracking the bugs, and I have no doubt we will get patches soon. As for me, I had a couple of glitches that froze the tape I was watching and had me restart the game and lose like a minute or two of progress, since it autosaves, but my favorite glitch was actually with the options menu. As I was changing monitors and resolutions, all my graphics options just randomly turned into on, and that's how they remain to this moment, despite reinstalling the game multiple times. My options menu looks actually quite funny now, but as much as I appreciate the fact that my resolution is turned on, it would be nice to, actually be able to change it as well. But I mean, I guess it could be worse if my resolution was turned off, right? While some glitches did escape the devs, they also seem to have taken measures against other glitches. If you toss an item out of bounds, for example, it just respawns, so props to you, devs. Honestly, this isn't a super long game, 2 to 4 hours maybe, depending on how good you are at puzzles, or, not good. But I don't think that's a very negative trait, or a negative trait at all, really. It's a perfect bite-sized horror-themed puzzler, which I really enjoyed. Although I gotta say I didn't find it very scary. I might just be resilient, who knows. But I'd say it's still scary enough that if you dislike horror games because of the scares, you probably won't like this either. But the best part? Clearly a lot of love was put into this project, which is always a delight to see. If you do pick the game up, I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. And that's it for this review. If you enjoyed it, I hope you'll consider liking and subscribing to the channel, as either or both actions help me figure out what I'm doing right, or not. But if you have to pick one thing, pick commenting, as I love hearing from all of you. That aside, thank you so much for watching and lending me these, 10 minutes of your time. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!
Look, I'm a pirate!
That doesn't seem safe.